as soon as I saw there was a microphone and not a headset, I have Italian hands, I move a lot, and so half of this is going to be without sound, but hopefully it's all good. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much, James and Lucas, for putting this on. I'm going to start with a small story. I only have 15 minutes. I'm going to try my best to keep it into that, but I want to start with a small story. Now, my wife is from Canada. She's from a very small town in the middle of literally nowhere. And we just got into her town and we had to stay in a motel room. And it was the middle of summer, it's stinking hot. And 2 jet-lagged kids, 1 jet-lagged wife, and the single worst sound that you can probably hear in that moment was the sound of a fly flying around the room. The aircon's dead, it's not working, stinking hot, and this fly is just buzzing around the room and going bzzz, and it's kind of trying to swat yourself instead of the fly. And then the fly does the only thing the fly knows how to do in this situation, which is instead of going through the open door that I had opened for it, it goes straight for the window. And it just tries its heart out to go through the window, and its only mindset is, hey, if I just push harder, if I just try harder, if I just try this corner or that corner or this bit of the window, then I'm going to get myself to safety. And as I'm sitting there, highly frustrated, I'm thinking like, man, this fly has an open door to freedom, and instead of just turning around and trying something different, it keeps doing the thing that it knows how to do. It tries to fly through the window, and the only thing that it found was the back of my shoe. And this got me thinking that this sounds a lot like a lot of business owners. We always try harder. We run through a mental model that if I just try a little bit harder, if I put a few more hours in doing the same thing, I'm going to get a different result. And that's pretty insane. But how many of us kind of do that? That when we're struggling with something, we just, hey, we're a few hours away, just need to push more, we just need to stress more, we need to struggle a little bit more. Does that work? It doesn't. Does it work for the fly? It doesn't. So what I wanted to cover tonight, by the way, this is me, I'll move that along. As James mentioned, I get to work with some people in some pretty cool places in business. I also work with some of Australia's best head coaches in sport, in football, and a few other sports. And I also get a chance to be part of a few really cool people doing great things in the world of football. And I also get to do that with some incredible clients in business. James alluded to, I've been doing this for 15 years and I get really obsessed over stuff. I don't know if it's just me. But one of the questions that I like to obsess over is simply, how can I help my people compete more? How can I help my people to fulfill their potential and succeed more? What's it going to take? Because if it was just talent, if it was just hard work like the fly, we will probably all have better results than we have right now. True or false? If it was just down to talent, hours, and how good you were at your craft, sometimes you look in the mirror and you're going, shit, what's going on? I should be further along. So there's got to be something else to it. Why is it that someone can put in half the work that I do and get 3 times the results? Why is it someone that has been in this game for half the time that I have be so much further along? What's wrong with me? The answer is there's nothing really wrong with us. It's our mental models and who we are. And what I wanted to do tonight was, first of all, the answer to that question is what I've kind of come up with, and this is a bit facetious, okay? So just go with it. Is the thing that sets people apart is their ability to step into the greatest version of themselves. I call it the king self. Ladies, your queen self. Okay, and there's always 2 versions of us. There's our king self, and there's our bitch self. Okay, now that's a facetious term. Basically, it's that version of you and me that we have, that we know that we have, that holds us back. Fair enough? You're nodding your head. Thank you for the energy. I appreciate it. Okay, so just like the fly, so many people have a belief system that success is the result of pain and struggle. That for me to succeed or to have the success that I need to have, it comes down to pain and struggle. The more pain and struggle that we have, the more success we have. Is there a different way? I think so. So, obviously, I just wanted to get a bit of a show of hands around the room. Who here is in leadership in their business, with their people? You just consider yourself a leader in what you do. Show of hands. Hell yeah. Okay, this is going to go good. Okay, so I geek out on words. So English is my second language, just for those of you guys who don't know, which means that I've had to understand what big English words meant in very simple terms. And so I go in and I geek out and I obsess about stuff. One of the things that I obsess about is the meaning of words. Quick exercise. Who would like to be more confident? Show me your hands. Thank you. Okay. Who knows what confidence is? One. What's confidence? How do you define it? Interesting. Who wants to be confident? Okay, interesting. It's interesting though, right? Because we all want to be confident, but we don't know actually what the hell does this look like. Confidence is self in trust. No? Trust in self. Dyslexic, right? Trust in self. Now, what is the role of leadership? You're a leader in your business. What's the role? What's leadership about? I shouldn't have pressed the slide because that's what it is. It's influence. Now, what's the etymology of, it's a big word, it means the meaning of the word, right? Etymology of influence is, it comes from the Latin influere, which means into flow. The act of leadership is to lead yourself, to bring the people that follow you into flow, to be their best self. Does this make sense to everyone? That if you lead your life, if you lead your business, your job is to be the best that you can be, so that you can bring your people into flow, into the best version of themselves. Cool bananas? Perfect. So, basically it's that. Leadership is the act of becoming that allows others to be in their flow. The issue is with leadership, if we're not the best that we can be, then we can't lead our people to be the best that they can be. Hang on, it's going to get good and I'm going to land this plane. So lead yourself, influence others. But here's the thing, this is the number one struggle that I've found across elite sport and business with leaders. Okay, and it's probably not what you think. It's the fear of rejection, humiliation, and abandonment. These are deep fears, human fears. I'm going to get a little bit fluffy with this, but it's important and I'm going to tell you why. If you're leading your company, if you're leading clients, there's a lot of coaches in the room, right? There's a lot of people here, Lucas in real estate, whatever it is that you do, you're leading someone to somewhere, you're guiding them. The thing is with leadership is that if you can't master and overcome your own fears of rejection, humiliation, and abandonment, we're not going to lead our people and our teams in the best way possible. Is that fair enough? Okay, cool. These are basic human fears. And they come from a lot of our upbringing and childhood and how we've been raised, okay? I'm not shitting on anyone's mom and dad, I'm the same, we're all the same, it's just how it goes. It's up to us to work through it so that we can lead our teams. And leadership is hard. It's hard. Who would agree that leadership is hard? It's relentless. I mean, you're the one that the first thing that goes wrong, you're the first person that gets called, you're the person that did it wrong, you're to blame, leadership, and then staff, oh my God, staff, right? Okay. Now, again on basic human needs, we're all humans and we all want the same thing. And there are three main things that cause us to do, don't do, act, not act on the things that we want. And it's based upon the three things behind me. And there's the need to be loved, to have your needs met, and to, well, we all think that we're going to have a problem-free life or a smooth life. We're in business. It finds us, right? So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I have a theory. And my theory is called the nice person syndrome. And the nice person syndrome is killing your results and it's killing your business. And it comes from a good place. And it comes from a thought that, hey, if I'm a good business owner, if I'm a nice guy, then I'm gonna be loved by my employees, my staff, my clients, they're just going to keep coming back to me. They don't, right? And I'm going to have all my needs met. If I'm a good person, I'm going to have all of my needs met, and I'm going to get the love that I want and all the things, and also I'm going to have less problems. Does that happen? No. Who's a good person in the room? Who's a good person in the room? Thank you. All right, let's make yourself short. James still didn't put his hand up. So, first of all, by this, you're probably thinking, well then, Carla, you're telling me that I need to be a jerk? That's not what I'm saying. But when we lead people, if we're too concerned about leading people in a way that I need to be loved, I need to have my needs met, I need to have problem-free life and business, we're not going to be the leaders that our business, that our vision, that our purpose, that our team needs us to be. Because then we become more people-pleasing rather than living on purpose and fulfilling our vision. Does this make sense to everyone? Yeah. Who struggles with people-pleasing? Just before you put your hands up, thank you, Ryan, appreciate it. Leading from the front, right? I'm a recovering people pleaser. Major people pleaser. I was brought up to be a good boy, to be compliant, to eat all my food, which I had no problems with growing up in Italy, but to just don't speak too loud, don't make any mistakes, all these kind of things. Just be a good boy. Has anyone been brought up to be a good boy or a good girl? Great. Who's a people pleaser? Okay, awesome. I'm in the right room. Does this make sense so far? I'm going to connect the dots and I'm going to land this plane, but does this make sense so far? Okay, awesome. The nice person syndrome basically runs on this simple belief that if I was truly to be me and say what I meant, stick to my boundaries, and say no when I don't want to do something, say yes to when I actually want to do it, that would be bad and dangerous for me. Because if I do that, then I get rejected. Then I get humiliated. Then I get abandoned. And all my clients, if I actually set the boundary with that jerk of a client, he'll leave. And then my need of money doesn't get met. And if I was setting the boundary with my staff, then they would leave, and the need that I have to get my work done wouldn't get done. So you know what? I'm actually going to put myself last. I'm going to just be a yes man and not have conflict. Because if I was truly doing what I wanted to do, then that will become bad and dangerous. Does anyone have any experience in their life that this has been true? Thank you. People-pleasing leaders create highly dysfunctional teams. This doesn't just happen in small business. I've seen this happen in some of the biggest teams in the world, with some of the biggest, most famous coaches in the world that act out of a fear of, hey, what am I going to lose? Hey, I can't. They're going to leave. I'm not going to succeed. I'm going to get humiliated publicly, and all this kind of stuff. Instead of actually having the courage to say, do the right thing, which is what integrity is. Integrity is knowing what the right thing to do is and do it when it needs to be done. Just, again, I geek out on words. So here's what happens. So on the left, you have the nice person leader. Just wants to be a good person, wants to do the right thing, wants to be authentic, wants to be, have integrity, all that kind of stuff. So the nice person leader has no boundaries, avoids conflict, puts themselves last, struggles to say no, and ultimately is disrespected by the people that they are leading. Okay? Then on the other side, you have the complete opposite from the nice person, who's the jerk leader, right? Dictator, blame staff and team. Who knows one of these? Who knows one of the other ones too? With no boundaries, struggles to have conflict, avoids conflict, or just in case, right? A few heads nodding. Okay, cool. So, as humans, we usually do one thing. We have one end of the scale, and then when, I heard this guy talking about being a nice person, and I think he meant that I need to be a jerk, so they go all the way to the end, and then all sorts of shit happens. That's not what I want to happen. What I want to happen is, I would love to see more integrated leaders. Leaders that actually have healthy boundaries, that choose purpose and vision over pleasing. Oh my gosh, imagine that, right? They put themselves first. Now pause. If I say, hey, I'll give you a challenge for 7 days to put you first, please you first, who gets anxiety at that? Yeah, right? 100%, because we've been brought up to be compliant to everyone else, And so when we put ourselves first, we feel so selfish, right? But how's our business working out right now in all areas? Is our team as efficient as it can be? Are we as fulfilled as we actually want to be? Or are we just kind of settling? Interesting. Have confidence in saying no. Stay true to their vision. Have high self-respect and self-worth, and the list goes on. I don't want to read it off that. Does this make sense? Okay, awesome. You choosing your purpose and your vision over pleasing someone else has the power to destroy your business. Destroy that. But it's got to require courage, and you have courage. And it's got to require the faith that whatever happens when I choose my purpose and vision first above everything else, that I'm going to be able to handle whatever comes on the other side. And that you fulfilling your purpose and your vision first, which is for the benefit of the whole team, not just sitting back and just accepting and tolerating and conforming to that one naggy staff member that you have, or the client that you're keeping on that you kind of want to let go, and your life will be so much better. Does anyone have that experience? Yeah, okay. So choosing your purpose and your vision over pleasing anyone that isn't you or your vision is going to do the opposite of destroying your business. It's actually going to step you forward, and you'll feel that confidence and that certainty within you that you've probably been seeking for a very long time. So I come back to this question: how can I help my people compete more? How can I help someone in a competitive environment be the best that they can be? At the end of, underneath everything of what you probably guys have heard, all sorts of kind of mindset stuff, coaching stuff, the real key thing that it comes down to is your belief in your emotions. I would ask you, if there is that people-pleasing trait that you're kind of like, I like to kick it, start by asking the question of, what's the belief? What's the belief for me? What is it? Maybe I'm not fulfilling my potential I want to go to the next level, but I'm scared, I want to hold back. What's the belief? I want to hold on to that client. What's the belief? Or I'm scared to let go of this staff member. What's the belief? Because if you can start to bring awareness around what's the belief that I'm holding on to, then you start to actually have awareness. Now you can sit back on the throne of your life and be the king and the queen that you've been designed to be. And now you run your show. Otherwise, someone else is running your show and you're just pretending to be in charge. Make sense? Ask yourself the question, what's the belief? What's the belief that is driving this action? I'm going to sit back at the room, or I feel nervous walking into the room. Okay, what's the belief? We didn't ask that question, and we came in and like, just be nervous. So look at the people, just going to sit back. But what's the belief? What's going to happen? If I say hello to someone, what's going to happen? Am I going to get found out? Am I going to get rejected? Am I going to get humiliated? Or am I going to get somehow abandoned? Does this make sense to you guys? Yeah? That wasn't very convincing. One more time for my confidence. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so ask yourself, what's the belief, what's the emotion? Because the belief and emotion leads into all the action that creates your kingdom. So I wanted to leave you just something super, super quick. There's 5 little steps that if you were to leave here tonight and this makes some kind of sense to you, what could you do? Number 1 is please you first. I feel the anxiety levels in the room rise. Great, but try it. Try for 7 days. Try and do, and what I don't mean just go out and just let go of everything and just sit on the beach, for 5 days. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you feel called to say something, if you think something should happen one way, tomorrow morning at the staff meeting, you think something is wrong and you have that inside of you, say it, speak up, do the right thing for you. I've actually figured out the reason why people don't have confidence. I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to share it with you. It is this. Who's heard of the open loop concept? The loops concept. Has anyone here heard of it? One, because I told you earlier. Okay. So here's what happens. When you get an inspiration, like, man, I want to do something. I want to message Jane and say, hey, can I speak at it? And you don't do it. What happens is that in that moment that you had inspiration, a loop in your mind opened up. And when you don't do anything about it, that loop stays open, right? And then something else happens, and then something else happens, and you don't do anything about it. Why? Fear, okay? Rejection, humiliation, abandonment, and you don't do anything about these things. All those loops stay open until you do something about them. But guess what? You say, hey, I want to work out. Cool, I should go to the gym, okay? What am I going to do? I'm going to book in, I'm going to visit the gym, and I'm going to go for a workout. How do you feel about, not about the workout, but how do you feel about yourself? You're going to feel way better. Why? Because you had the thing in your mind and you went and did it. The workout was shit, but you feel good about yourself. Why? Because you went and did it. You see someone that you want to go and talk to, and you go and talk to them. Doesn't work out, you get no business from it, but how do you feel about yourself? Good, right? The result doesn't actually matter as much as it matters you building trust with you. Does this make sense? The reason why people don't have confidence is because we don't trust ourselves. Then January 1st is going to come around, and everyone's like, yeah, New Year's resolutions. Do you know what? I'm like, I don't blame people for not even trying. Because they don't trust themselves. Not that again. How long do we have until the end of the year? Quick maths. Anyone?
25 days.
25 days. Awesome. In 25 days, you have 25 chances to build trust in yourself enough that you can go into 2025 and kick some ass. Start there. You get an inspiration to do something. Close the loop. Just do something about it. You get rejected. Who cares? I did it for me. Now the game becomes you and you. Does this make sense to everyone? Okay, awesome. So, please you first, purpose over pleasing. If somebody's doing the wrong thing at work, or someone is not fulfilling the purpose, or not acting according to the vision and the purpose, call it out. Do that little thing that is going to give you that confidence in yourself. Set boundaries and make them stick. Make your nose, right? Keep your word between you and you. You say you're going to do something, do it. Someone's going to get upset about it, their thing, not yours. Hold the boundaries. Most people, when they do this work, they think that someone starts pushing their boundaries, they need to go and just knock them out. No. Just hold the boundaries. You say, hey, I'm not drinking tonight. No one here. But I'm not doing that thing, or I'm stopping work at 5:30, and then that boundary gets pushed by the client or whatever. So no, I said I'm not working past 5:30. Okay. Again, no one else here. Awesome. I love it. And then choose standards over rules. What do I mean by that? Is that in anything you do, rules were what we were given as kids. Saying, you got to do it this way. Rules are a set of external forces that are enforced to put control over us. Whereas standards is saying, hey, what's the best that I can give? What's the best version of me? Can I live up to that, my best? And if we can think about that and focus on standard over rules, in a very quick amount of time, your results will skyrocket. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So, from trying harder to leading yourself and influencing your team, it's between you and you. If you overcome that nice person syndrome that has been designed to just comply and not get into trouble, and you think you're going to have a problem-free life, you're not going to have a problem-free life anyway. And the people that care about you, and they're going to love you, and that are going to meet your needs, are going to probably be happy to see you being more confident, show up with more of that life force inside of you. Cool. Alright, awesome. That concludes my thing. If you resonate with anything of this kind of stuff, and maybe you're a recovering people pleaser like me, and you find some value in this, I'd love to add some extra value. That QR code thing there, it's got my LinkedIn. Love to connect with you guys. Thank you for paying attention, listening, and raising your hands. It was hopefully you guys find it valuable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlo. Do you want to take questions?
Yeah.
Anyone got any? Any questions?
Yes, that typo, was that a confidence thing for someone to call you out on it?
It was now, yeah.
Capital letters first.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for paying attention. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least one person paid attention.
I'll say something actually.
Yeah.
I love the if you sign a contract with yourself, stick to the contract. It's like something that I personally draw a huge amount of inspiration from.
Yeah.
If I decide to do something, there's no I've signed that contract and that's what we're doing. It's cool. I just mentioned both you two guys actually. I said that's the Mamba mentality. So the Kobe Bryant mentality. It's like a mantra that I have in my office is stick to the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Sign the contract, go for it.
And
It's given me so much confidence to just be myself, even speak in a room like this. So
Yeah.
I think that was such a key.
Yeah, and again, that builds that trust between you and you, and that's all that counts, because that confidence, right? It's far beyond just looking good, putting a mask on and pretending to be confident. That's very shallow, but that is something that between you and you, when all the lights go off, you can look at yourself in the mirror and go like, I did that, I kept my word. That's true strength. That's powerful. Thank you for the share, it's great. Yep.
I just want to touch on when you're talking about the fears.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, the number one fear everybody has in life, regardless of whether or not you want to admit it, is to be rejected,
Yep.
to be abandoned.
Yep.
And once you conquer that fear
Yep.
and move from it, the world just opens up.
Yeah, it does.
And everything.
It's true. And then when we have so many people that rely upon us, mastering that fear and moving through it, I don't think we ever get rid of it. I think we just get stronger in how we deal with it and how we go through it.
I think it builds your esteem.
Yeah, it does.
The more that you build your esteem, the more that you listen to your intuition, follow that, follow
Yeah,
yourself,
very true.
build that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. And to me, that's why I shared that loop thing that I have. Hopefully made sense to everyone. But to me, it just becomes a me and me game. And if I can close more loops and I build that trust, then what we tend to then focus more on is all the good things that we've done instead of all the things that we've left open and undone. And then we kick ourselves and we're like, oh, no, why should I do this again? Because I look at all the times that I haven't done it. So yeah, I agree. Thank you. Great share.
It invites imposter syndrome, and doesn't it, when you are leaving your loops open and not honouring your own word?
Yeah, it does. Because again, between you and you know what you've done and what you haven't. And yeah, it does open up that imposter syndrome. Yeah, thank you. At the back.
Just a question on the loops that you're mentioning. What happens when you've got so many loops open and you're not
Yeah,
closing them?
yeah.
Yeah.
Great question. It's amazing. One of the great ways I got to explain it is if you know a dam and it's got a dam wall and it's got holes in the wall. You ever felt really tired and like out of energy? That's what happens when you got so many loops open. It's like all tabs open on your internet browser, right? Or applications open. It just drains you, and then you feel like, man, why am I so tired? I just woke up. Why am I so tired? That's why we're tired. And so closing those loops implies taking action beyond fears or through fears, which is very, very difficult. And so we think that we need to go and do the big crazy things to do that, but actually it's the little actions, keeping the contracts like Ryan said. Whatever those are, whatever your values are, whatever is important to you, take action on that, right? The little actions, and often it's the smallest stuff. It's the things that don't actually impact your bottom line or your relationship, whatever. It's just the little things. Example could be, oh, hey, I should do that, go for a walk, I don't do it. Oh, I should meditate more, don't do it. Oh, I'd love to read a book. Oh, I had that New Year's resolution to go and do it, didn't do it. Oh, I should put the snack bar down and drink some more water, I don't do it. And all of that stuff stacks up. It's no wonder we don't have that certainty about ourselves. We just don't trust ourselves. And then we cover it up with other bullshit. Waste of time. Might as well just go and do that little stuff, have a system and a method. I'm huge around that. That allows you to say, okay, let's just close loops, and all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, I've got so much more energy. I feel so much more confident. I'm standing up tall. I'm looking after myself. Does that make sense? And that's why I said please you first, but not pleasing from a low level. I'm pleasing from, okay, hey, let's go. I want to do the right thing by me. Does that make sense? Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, that was great, thank you. With the 5 things that you had at the end there, like to work through, if, say for example, keeping your word, how might you help someone do that? That's not for me because I always keep my word, but for people that I know, like how would you help them to be able to do that?
I always go back to the question of what's the belief and what's the emotion behind why we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if we don't keep our word, what's driving that? And so instead of tackling the apple for the apple, I just right to say, okay, what's leading to that? Because if I don't keep my word because my belief is that I don't trust myself anyway, or I know that I haven't done it before, then there's a core belief there. Tackle the belief, understand what the belief is, and then all of a sudden like, oh, that's why I don't do that. Okay, now it makes sense for me, and it's not as big as I thought it was going to be, or impossible as I thought it was going to be.
So changing belief.
It's always the belief. Anytime this, especially people at high levels, it's never about actually needing to be better at what you do. You're good at that. You wouldn't be here or you wouldn't be where you are if you weren't. It's not about your craft. The tradie that doesn't build a multi-million-dollar business is not because he's not good at the trade. It's because it's got belief systems, right, Chris, around different areas. So it's always about what's the story, what's the belief in our head that is keeping us to where we are. Deal with that and it gets easier. Then accountability. Yeah.
Hi, do you have time to tell us about one of your success stories that you're really proud of? How you've inspired someone? Or
Can I give you a very recent experience? It's probably not what you think. So I started working with and you guys are going to be like, what has this got to do with us? I started working with a 10-year-old boy from Sydney, and his name is Charlie. Charlie is a very talented young man. He happens to be everything that I wasn't with football. He's talented, he's good looking, he's funny, he's fast. I wasn't, right? None of that. But Charlie's right now, he's in Manchester, trialing with one of the biggest teams in the world, Manchester City. And I started working with Charlie a little while back. And Charlie's been through a lot through his family, but also his family's been through a lot. And a lot of, when you're good at what you do, and you know you're good at what you do, and everyone else knows that you're good at what you do, sometimes people try and cut you down, and they do some awful stuff. In Charlie's case, he had a lot of coaches that would say, hey, you're the best one here. No mistakes from you today. Hey, you should be killing it. You're the best player in the team. You're the best player, you're the best player, you're the best player. Mum and dad ended up doing some of the same things. Saying, hey, Charlie, you're the best player. You're the best player, the best player. And so Charlie was really struggling with making mistakes, which really meant that he was struggling to actually be himself, was being that thing that he knew was going to be so good. And because of the fear, right, we go back to it, the fear of making mistakes, he just wasn't free, and he wasn't playing freely, and he wasn't enjoying it. And the way that this ties into what we're talking about is because a lot of, after doing work with him, now they want to sign him up to stay in Manchester for the future. He's 10 years old, signing at the biggest club in the world. And his dad has been mind blown by the shift in confidence. And it sounds silly mentioning it to a room of grown-up business owners. The power of having fun and enjoyment. And we don't connect the two with business, because business is, again, pain and struggle equals to success. But collapsing the beliefs of all the stories that he had in his head, even at 10 years old, allowed him to go and do what he did. And the biggest strategy was, hey, let's have more fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's actually realizing that mistakes are going to happen. We're not going to have a problem-free life, none of us. So might as well not even try to seek it. But how many of us do we do the work that we do so that, hey, so that I have less problems? I know I do, right? And I still catch myself. How much do I do in my business so that I'm going to be loved or have my needs met? So much, so we have to keep coming back to it. So the point of that is, by transforming the beliefs around the external stuff that was happening and bringing him back to his king self, even at 10 years old. I mean, this kid's doing mindset work at 10. Where would we be if we started that at 10? Anyone else? Holy shit, right? So it's amazing. It's a testament to his parents. Does that kind of answer the question? I love that.
Most of our cells form by the time we're 7 anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So that story with Charlie happens all the time with business owners, right? Coming back to that best version of themselves and building that identity. It's not about how good we are, it's about actually who we are. And I know there's coaches in the room that are probably like, yeah, that's exactly right? So if we can become that, then I truly believe that there can be just more people that live their life and actually fulfill their potential. I think there's a lot less than we think. Yeah.
How do you know if you've got there?
Got where?
To be a king?
That's a good question. How do you know if you got there to be a king? I don't think king is or queen is a final destination.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
How do you know that you're pretty much on your way? You've gone from here to here. Like,
Yeah.
what sort of one big takeaway or two little takeaways to say, like, if you're experiencing this, then you've grown. You are more you. You are standing in your kingship or your kingship.
One of them is kind of what Ryan was touching on. I think it's a very quiet voice, and confidence to me now is not more of that big, arrogant, kind of showy, loud, right?
Nice.
I think it's very quiet, and I think it's you looking in the mirror and going like, proud of that.
Nice.
Because king is not like what we think in medieval times, ruling over someone else. No. It's you ruling over your little bit self every day, right? And it's facetious, but hopefully it proves a point. But it's you looking and having that peace of mind that in the quiet moments when you go on holiday or when you're sitting down watching a movie, that you don't kick yourself like, I haven't done enough. I know that I could be more. I know that I could have done more and I didn't do it, and I'm just kicking myself. And you have that peace of mind because now you're at peace, because you know that everything you could have done, you've done, and you can let go.
Yeah.
Or let be. I think it's a better way to put letting go. Yeah. So I think, based on my current consciousness and awareness, I think that would be the biggest thing that I would think. And then obviously results are always gonna prove as well, because everything is a reflection of you and it's a fruit of you. So your business, your money, your relationship, your health, your spiritual and emotional health all match. Because it's one thing to have your money unbelievable and have your career unbelievable, but then if you're empty in your relationship and you're empty in your body and emotionally you're a wreck, then to me that's not king. King is 10 out of 10. It's not to be too hard on ourselves that if we're not there, we're not. No, that's not it. I think it's the pursuit and the constant kind of saying, okay, today with this moment that I have I shown up to the way that I want it, that is true to me?
Thank you.
Sounds like the fly worked out how to get out the door, right? And the fly could learn to do other stuff. What about one example of maybe a coach, a sporting coach or someone that you've dealt with where the team was just unfixable, like a proper disaster case that in a group level, what that person was able to do to really turn the whole team around?
So last year I experienced one of the most difficult things I've ever gone through. I went to Tel Aviv and I worked with a professional team there. Just before everything that we know is kind of happened, I was there for it, but that's a different story. The team that we inherited, I work with an Australian coach who it's changed my life, but that's again a different story. So we went there and the project was new. They had new owners in and the club was going down a particular way for a very long time, and we turned it all around. And it's a lot of the work that we do, that we talk about, especially in with businesses now, is a lot around environment and culture and high performance mindset. But it all starts from the leader. So the leader always chooses the vision. If the head's wrong, everything else is not going to be working. And in a sporting environment, you've got the head coach and you think, oh yeah, that's going to be the person, but they've got at least two or three people on top of them that becomes another head that needs to be right in order for them to then have the best possible thing. Anyway, through his leadership and a lot of work that I'm grateful that I was able to do with him, we turned that club around, and it was cut short. So I'm kind of shitty about it still. I'm not quite over it, because what we were doing, how we were turning that culture of that team around was, you had to see it to believe it. Some of the stuff that we had to deal with, the list is great. You have to see it. But it was amazing. The energy, the vibe from what it was, very negative, very down, very low performance mindset, shitty standards around everything, to what it turned out to be in a very quick amount of time, was credit to him, to his leadership. Because here's the thing around leadership, right? You go into an environment, you try and change it, but there's external forces in that environment that want to keep it the way that it's been. right? So you go back into your business, you're like, oh my God, I want to take it to that level. But you've got external forces, right, that want to keep it the way that it's always been. And so you need to have that courage, you need to have purpose and vision over pleasing. Because it's easy to say, James, you know what, yeah, okay, we'll just do it your way. But then that's not what you have inside. It's not true to you. And that is poison. You don't want to do that. You let that habit start and it kills you. So Michael is his name. Did an unbelievable job, and I was about to get on a flight this year to go to Turkey and work with him, and then something else happened, and there might be another opportunity in Europe coming up as well. Touch wood. So that's a kind of, but it requires so much vision and faith and trust. I know we don't talk about trust in business a lot, but holy shit, it's big, right? We need to have that trust that it's going to work out. And so when you have that and you stay true to it, no matter what happens, no matter the result, no matter what people say, no matter what the owners, the sponsor, whatever, you stay true to it, it's going to work. It's going to work. And you have trust in that, and you don't stop until it happens. Yep.
No more typos. The ring analogy seems to be like jarring with a lot of people.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a counter to procrastination. If you feel as though you're carrying something more every time you don't complete a task, it's sort of a good excuse to get it done now or tomorrow or the next day if you could otherwise put it off.
Yeah.
When you sort of, I guess, had that realization of perceiving things that way, did you get more, I guess, brutal about what you said yes or no to, or what you set yourself up to take on?
It's a great question about what you choose, what task you choose to become.
More, like, just
yeah.
motivate you to get it done, or a bit of both?
Yeah, it's I think my thing that I absolutely love about myself is how aware and conscious, and my brain overthinks all the time about things that I should do. And so part of my thing is just to channel my focus and thinking. But a lot of it, I think someone mentioned intuition before. It's about whatever comes to you, trusting that. And say, I should. Perfect example. There was someone driving a McLaren near the shopping centre where I am down the road, and I was like, you should go up and introduce yourself. And I'm like, nah, it's stupid. And I'm like, oh fuck, I heard the voice. Okay, go and do it. And and I got his number. We hung out. The guy's got like a bunch of really cool cars, and yeah, there's a connection, right? Oh, that person, so they got a story. Go and speak to them. Like, oh fuck, okay, here we go. And then it turns out to be the best thing. And so it is about being mindful of what you put your attention towards, but at the same time, it's the stuff that does come, it comes for a reason. I don't know, maybe I'm spiritual and it's just me, right? But I believe that everything that happens is guided and it's unfolding, and then the stuff that comes through is meant to come through, and so act on it. And at the end of the day, whatever we believe is controlling everything. And if I'm called to something, which I feel called to what I do because I'm really passionate about it, and passion and desire are closely connected. I told you I geek out on words. The word desire comes from the Latin, and it translates to of the Father, right? So if you don't believe in God, whatever higher power is being given to you, meaning that if you're passionate about something, it's been given to you and you're the steward of it, right? And all you have to do is, because it's not yours, someone a bit smarter than me has given it to me, so it's probably going to happen. All I have to do is become the best version of me and just do whatever needs to be done. Does that make sense? That's just how I think anyway. I thought I'd drop that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. When you were talking about that, I guess it feels like expectations from society as well. Think about kids. There's probably a few
Beautiful.
kids in the room.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So how do you?
You lead yourself, and you don't give a shit about societal expectation. Because if you do, then you're pleasing someone else or something else instead of you. And now instead of leading your life, you're reacting to it, to what someone else the good opinion of other people, right? You're just more conscious around that and pleasing something out there that you don't even know who people are. You ever ask yourself that question? We're worried about what people might think. Okay, who are people? Who is it? We don't know. Confidence. Who wants to be confident? Yeah. What's confidence? I don't fucking know, right? So instead of buying into that, buy into your vision, buy into actually what you believe in, and close major loops and kick some ass.
Fantastic. Thank you, Carlo. Obviously, big round of applause. Thank you. Mr. Carlo's details up there. Feel free to chat with him later. That's the end of our formal proceedings, but we've got this room for the rest of the night. So enjoy the tab, enjoy the finger food, and enjoy each other. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
That wasn't a Q&A. I love
Nice to meet you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. How long have you been doing this? Amazing. Awesome. What got you into it? What do you love about it? Yeah, and so you run retreats, you do yoga, meditation stuff?
That's kind of what I've done for a long time.
Oh, great. Good on you. Good stuff. Yeah. You didn't love studying at all? Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,